If you've ever watched one of those glossy retirement commercials, you know, the ones where two perfectly rested 70-year-olds walk on a beach with suspiciously perfect posture. Then you've been exposed to one of the greatest fantasy films of all time. Welcome to The Great Retirement Hoax, a blockbuster, decades in the making, starring America, unrealistic expectations, and a whole lot of missing money. And if you're thinking, hey, that's not fair, I've been saving, I've got a plan, don't worry, we'll get to you. But first, let's meet the average American chasing the dream of retirement, like a cat chasing a laser pointer, endlessly, enthusiastically, and absolutely getting nowhere. Picture this. You're 65. You wake up in a bed with the same springs that have been poking your back since 2009. You stretch, crack 3 or 4 joints you didn't know you had, and shuffle into the kitchen. You pour your coffee, open your laptop, and check your retirement account. You nod confidently. You've been waiting for this moment. And then you see it. Your balance is roughly the cost of a used Honda Civic with questionable mileage. Congratulations. You're retired for approximately 7 days. This is the moment most Americans eventually arrive at, a moment economists like to call financial awakening, and normal people like to call, wait, what? And if you're thinking this is exaggerated, it's not. This is basically the financial equivalent of ordering a feast on DoorDash and only receiving a single French fry, a cold one. But don't worry, there's a reason this keeps happening, and it has nothing to do with you being bad with money. No matter what that one personal finance influencer who films TikToks in their Tesla says, to really understand why retirement became a punchline instead of a plan, we have to rewind the tape a little. There was a time, believe it or not, when retirement was simple. You worked, your company saved money for you. You retired. You sat on a porch drinking lemonade like a well-funded grandma from a Hallmark movie. This mystical system was called a pension. It was basically the adult version of a participation trophy. You show up, you do your job, and at the end, your company hands you money, just for being alive. Then came the 1980s. Ah yes, the decade of neon pants, big hair, and even bigger financial plot twists. Companies looked at pensions and said, this seems expensive. What if, hear me out, we don't do that anymore. Enter the 401k, a retirement plan where your employer saves money for you, only if you save first, and only if you save enough, and only if the stock market behaves, and only if inflation doesn't decide to cosplay as a dragon and breathe fire all over your savings. Basically, they swapped your pension for a DIY kit and said, good luck, you're financially responsible now. Imagine buying IKEA furniture, except the instructions are missing, the screws don't fit, and the final product collapses if the economy sneezes. This was the moment retirement shifted from promise to plot twist. But wait, there's a twist inside that twist. Let's play a game. It's called Can Your Savings Keep Up? Spoiler, the answer is no. Here's the math. Most Americans don't have a retirement plan at work. Those who do often save less than the recommended amount because bills, inflation exists, and it is rude. Wages haven't kept up with costs since flip phones were a thing. This means you're saving for retirement while everything around you is getting more expensive faster than you can say, why is eggs $7? Add shrinking paychecks, rising rent, student loans, and the occasional emergency, like your car deciding it no longer wants to participate in society. And suddenly, that save 10% of your income advice starts to feel like a motivational poster on the wall of a building that's on fire. Even the people who do everything right find themselves staring at a retirement account that looks like it's been on a strict intermittent fasting diet. You save money, you invest, you grind. And then the market goes down because a billionaire tweeted something cryptic, and your retirement evaporates like morning dew. Beautiful system, really. Once upon a time, retirement meant freedom. Now, retirement means you get to choose between working at Costco, working at Home Depot, or working at Starbucks, because at least Starbucks gives you free coffee. More Americans over 65 are working today than ever before. Why? Well, imagine trying to retire on rising rent, rising healthcare costs, rising food prices, rising utilities, rising everything, while your savings rise exactly 0 inches. It's like trying to inflate a pool float with a single weak exhale. If you've ever met an 80-year-old Uber driver, congratulations, you've met the future. You'll see them soon in a city near you. They'll pick you up, offer you a mint, and tell you that their 401k looked great in 1998. And the wildest part is, everyone's acting like this is normal. Oh, you're still working at 76? Good for you. It keeps you active. Yes. So does fear, and if you think Social Security is going to save you, that's adorable. That's like believing your old MySpace account is still doing fine. Let's talk about that. Social Security is supposed to be the giant safety net catching everyone who slips through the cracks. But lately, that net looks like it was crocheted by someone who gave up halfway through. For decades, politicians promised, "Don't worry, Social Security will be there for you." And technically, sure, it will be. Just maybe not the version you imagined. The system was created in an era where people retired at 65 and lived until like 68. Now, people retire at 67 and live until 92 on a diet of green smoothies and positive affirmations. The math is upside down. More money is being paid out than coming in. Fewer workers exist to pay for more retirees. And Congress treats long-term planning the same way most people treat leg day. They avoid it at all costs. So if the traditional retirement system is broken and Social Security is under renovation, what does that leave? A whole lot of people fighting over a rapidly shrinking pool of money, while inflation laughs in the background like a villain in a cartoon. But don't worry, this story isn't all doom, because despite every structural flaw, there are ways people are adapting, and they're surprisingly creative. You've probably heard of quiet quitting. Well, welcome to its cousin, quiet retiring. This is where people pretend they're retired, even though they're still working, usually by doing gigs that feel less like jobs and more like paid hobbies. Walking dogs, driving Uber, selling handmade soaps on Etsy, charging strangers $20 to tell them which character they are from The Office. People aren't just working longer. They're reinventing what retirement looks like. A whole generation is realizing, if I can't afford to stop working, then what if I just work on something I don't hate? This is the era of hobby-based income, side quests, semi-retirement. Work until I feel like stopping, then unretire, then retire again. It's messy, it's chaotic, it's very on-brand for America. But here's the thing, it's also strangely empowering, because instead of waiting for a broken system to fix itself, people are learning the one truth no one told them. Retirement isn't a number, it's a strategy built on whatever combination of money, time, health, and energy you can cobble together, without losing your mind in the process. This leads to one last plot twist. Here's the part no one really wants to admit. The entire idea of retirement, the beach, the golf course, the eternal vacation, was always more fiction than fact. Most people were never going to retire like that. Not in the 1970s. Not in the 1990s. Not today. The only difference now is that we can finally see the illusion clearly. But that's not a bad thing. Because illusions trap people. Reality frees them. Once you stop expecting retirement to look like a postcard, you can finally start building a life you don't want to retire from. A life with work you don't dread. Money goals that make sense. Habits that compound, and a plan flexible enough to survive the chaos of modern economics. Because the truth is simple. Most Americans will never retire the old-fashioned way, but they can absolutely build a future worth living. Retirement isn't the end of your working life. It's the beginning of the life you choose to live. And maybe, just maybe, that's a better story than the one we were promised. So the next time you see that perfect couple walking on the perfect beach, in that perfect retirement commercial, smiling at each other like they've never argued over thermostat settings, just remember, that's not the goal. It's the marketing. The real goal is building a life where you're not terrified of the future and not regretting the past. A life where you're not chasing retirement. You're chasing meaning. Because the real question is not, will you retire? It's, what kind of life do you want before, during, and after the money? And that answer, that part, is finally in your control.